Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. This is Iron Vlog number 39, and today we are building the ankle and the foot, hopefully, if we get that far, which will bring us almost completely done with draft 1. The only thing I'll have to do is a exoskeleton-like part of the Mark 1, which is the pauldron. So, finish today's draft, finish today's file, and we're pretty much done with Mark 1. Then we get to think about and plan out Mark 2, do Mark 2, and then we have one more Mark 3 just to get everything ironed out, and then we're going to have the Mark 1 built. Draft 3, what I meant to say. Good morning, let's do this.
Just so you know, when I say I'm building this in a cave, I'm kind of building this in a cave. I came out just to do a little bit of a workout. Wasn't going to film it today, but raining all through my shit. It's just there's water dripping down all up over here. I insulated over here a long time ago so that it wouldn't get this stuff wet, but it's raining. It's fucking ruining my squat rack that I made.
Check this out, guys. I am just toying with something before I start the real work for today. I added a little secondary ring, and right now it's running through where I bolt this on, but that's okay because I was just trying to see how it would look. So this is just on the superficial side, but there is another ring that is essentially mapped out exactly to this ring right here, and what the idea with this is that it'll allow for pressure up against this when this is being pulled on. It'll make, because if you didn't do this, there'd just be two little pieces coming out off the top of the shin, and it's not very strong. I'm having this problem all over the body, but that wouldn't be very strong. So by adding this gives another, I can add metal all the way around this on the superficial frame, which armors it as well, but then it also adds a pressure spot for this. Now it won't be completely even, because you see as I move it, it moves around like that. But that gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. And I think this is probably the way to go. I mean, he closes in a little bit in here, so it could potentially pinch an actuator, which is a problem. But I kind of like the idea. I don't really want to make this a full circle out here because it makes it quite large, like we were having issues with on the forearm. But so it gets a little bit misaligned. But I think that's okay because it'll still add a spot. Like this will be a pressure spot here, and so there'll be a pressure spot here and then one here too. So that's adding at least a little bit of something there to keep that from collapsing when the gastroc when the gastroc nevius is turned on. Or actually there would be another. Your hamstrings will also be coming down through here. So the exo hamstrings, the exogastroc will be coming into there and clipping across these two. And actually the hamstring will come right down here and catch into this part that's moving. That allows some movement of the leg like this. So anyway, it needs to be supported and strong because of that, because they produce such high force. So this would be potentially the way I think it's going to be done. I'll think about it as I work on draft 2, but this is kind of the idea right now. Alright, so check it out. We're looking pretty good in a lot of ways here. I like this. This comes down. This turns into one piece here. So the deep and superficial come into one layer on the foot, which is there's only one layer on the foot because it's one of the periphery areas. So no deep superficial, just one layer of exoskeleton on the feet, the hands, and the head. I like that. But then I really like that sliding part that I talked about earlier this morning coming off here, because then I have support back here too. And then and this would actually probably be two pieces, even though it's only one strut right now, and then two here, then two here. All real nice. I also really enjoy the way this came out right here. So if we see it with a little bit of rotation here, there you go. You got your side-to-side motion of the leg. Looks real good. Looks real good. But then made a mistake here on the foot down here. This is great, except for the cuts right through the middle of your leg. So I didn't, for whatever reason, didn't see that coming, and I have to adjust it in some way. Probably what I'm thinking right now is it's gonna make this file hard to work with. But what I'm probably gonna do is end up doing some kind of slider joint like this down here, like that, and that'll allow it to come up towards your foot like that, and then maybe even could back it off a little bit more to make it fit a little bit better. But get rid of the normal joint like this and do a slider joint. Get rid of a hinge joint, do a slider joint, pull it back, and then that'll give it and actually like the U shape will actually come up like that and actually allow for a little bit more range of motion. May end up limiting range of motion a little bit, but that's okay. It can do it a little bit as long as it's not too much. But yeah, it's coming along, almost there. This I'm liking even better. We get rid of doing it back here. We put it over here, which is more support anyway, and we do one of these U shapes here, and then your toes don't come up nearly as much as your toes go down, so you can't do nearly as much dorsiflexion as you can plantar flexion. So putting it up here will really get rid of all that problem. So means I have to adjust this strut out to over here, so it's got to run all the way up here instead of back there, but that's fine. And then we'll have that U-shaped piece coming over the foot, which gives us plenty of room. That makes total sense. That is what we're going to be doing, and then we'll get rid of all this. I like that better anyway. Like that. Alright guys, it's late, but I've finished it. So let's run through the joints really quick. So we'll start with the one here from yesterday. This joint right here, there's your side-to-side lateral motion that gets locked out when your leg is straight. Next joint we have is going to be this joint, and here is going to move. So I grab this here. There you go. That allows you to point your toes and lift your foot up like that. I got rid of the part in the back that I showed you guys earlier, so you can point your foot down pretty far. Look at that. I haven't actually looked at this, how it looks all the way down yet, but it looks like it actually goes a little further. Let's see here. So, oh yeah, it goes really far. Maybe I ended up going too far. That'd be right up on your tippy toes. That seems about right. Yep, that's good. It's a really solid range of motion there. Second to last joint right here. We got this, gives you just a little bit of side-to-side motion. You don't need a whole lot of motion in this because you don't have a whole lot of motion. When you move, as you can tell, it is off to one side because of the way I was standing when I got the scan done. My foot was kind of already tilted off this way. So the funny thing about building this is I have to build it to this shape. And maybe it's not necessarily the best shape. Maybe it isn't. I don't really know. I haven't thought about it that much yet, but I have to build it to the shape I was standing in when I got my scan done. Some parts of it makes it more complicated, some parts don't. And then the last joint we have here is your toes, like that. That allows your toes to go up, and probably not really going to go down very much because there's no need to, but because that's not really how shoes work. But it'll allow you to go up like this. And then if we look on the other side, there's this joint ended up just not working out very much because the way your toes move is the joint comes down like this. So this joint is moving here, but this joint is moving all the way up here. So I decided it was best just to put this on the main joint and then kind of let this float. There's going to be rubber. I'm going to build a shoe underneath this, so it'll be supported around this, but I decided the best way to do this was just to leave this open, because the only other way to do that would be to start separating it per toe, and that seems excessive. At some point I'm going to do a ninja foot, because I'm a ninja, and do that, but not yet. And here it is, guys. These are all the files. These are all the finished files right here of draft 1. Like I said, I still want to do the pauldron, so I'll probably do that tomorrow, but that won't take very long, I don't think. Hopefully, yeah. But yeah, we're getting there. All right, so there we are, guys. We've finished all the joints of the draft 1. I'm still gonna do the pauldron tomorrow. I'm gonna try to do that. That hopefully won't take very long, so I should get that done pretty quick, and we'll be officially done with draft 1. I might do a I haven't decided yet. I'm still thinking about it. I might end up doing a draft 1 of the stands to hold this thing, but I really got to think about how it's going to go together and think about whether or not that actually makes sense for me to do on draft 1 or if I'm going to save that for draft 2. But we're getting pretty close. It's really super exciting to be done with draft 1. Man, it took a while. It really forced me through my ideas a lot more strongly than it would have when I was just thinking about it, when I was doing the gotta get better at this. When I was doing the drawings, it forced me to get, actually making it obviously made it really made me think through my ideas better, and there's stuff I worked on, a lot of stuff I worked on that didn't end up working out. So getting close to draft 2, so next thing I'm going to think about the things I want to add, that I need to add on draft 2 that is going to be different than draft 1. For starters, I didn't do a deep and superficial frame for any parts of the torso, so that's going to have to be done and figured out. But additionally, on top of that, things that I'm going to add that I didn't add on draft 1 is going to be ways to attach foam on the inside, which will eventually just be a sensor suite that'll be pressure sensors to measure where the suit is relative to your body. But that'll be replaced down the line if I actuate it. At first, it's just going to be just foam that's going to mount the thing to my body, so it'll just sit on my body as opposed to floating around my body. But I need a way of doing that, and that's going to be based on the 3D printed parts. Those are going to be incorporated into the 3D printed parts. I'm actually going to 3D print hexagons I'll be able to just put bolts in, and then I'll be able to bolt the foam into the 3D printed parts that are the composite parts for the deep frame. So that's going to be a new part on Draft 2, and then the other thing is going to be spots for exomuscles. That's the other thing I'm going to do. I'm going to start trying to work on that, because if I can't actuate the thing, it doesn't really matter. It's just a cool looking suit. So even if I don't actually end up doing it on the Mark 1, and I end up doing it on like the Mark 2, actuating it, I'm at least going to have the places built to try to actuate it if I choose to try to do it. So I have to start thinking about that, and doing both those things is going to increase the complexity of Draft 2 quite a bit. And then additionally to that, I have to figure out how I'm going to grab onto it in order to hold it in the stand. So those are 3 things, pretty big things too, but at least I have the base idea mostly figured out with Draft 1 of how the actual skeleton is going to go together. And that's really the hardest part, probably. I mean, the muscles is not going to be easy. I think the foam shouldn't be that hard. And I don't think the 3D printed part is going to be that hard either, because they're just essentially going to be inserts that just kind of wrap around where the steel is going. So I don't think any of that's going to be too crazy. The muscles is going to be a little difficult. I'm going to have to think about that. I think that's probably going to be the most complicated part. But I'll start thinking through that, and then I need to get some thought processes. I'm going to have to do a bunch of drawings. Like I said, I'm going to build that spreadsheet, that build list of like the list on how I'm going to build the order at which I'm going to design and pull and build the suit out, so I'm more prepared going into Draft 2. So the plan is, after I finish Draft 1, is to sit down and just really think through how I'm going to do Draft 2, do a bunch of sketches, make that spreadsheet, and think everything through and have a really good idea before I start Draft 2. This should probably only take a couple days, 2-3 days, probably 2 days, maybe a day, who knows. I'm going to smoke some weed, think about it, figure it out. But anyways, guys, we're getting very close. We are officially done with all the joints. So that'll probably be the title of this Iron vlog. So we're very close. It's cool. I think we'll get faster at certain parts of it. I also need to try to set a timeline for finishing Draft 2 as well, because I want to keep myself a little bit on a time frame. You know, if I end up failing on it, It's not the end of the world. But I do want to set a timeline. So I have a few things I have to figure out before starting Draft 2. And like I said, I still want to make the pauldron. I'm going to take a stab at that, but I don't think that'll take a whole heck of a long time. But I just want to give it like a little bit of a stab. Sorry about that, guys. My weird old camera was overheating again. If you watched my show, that's happened a few times. But anyway, gonna do the pauldron tomorrow. Getting very close on Draft 1, and then hopefully Draft 2 and Draft 3 will just go nice and buttery smooth, and then pretty soon you'll see me walking around in a solid suit of metal. Love you guys. You have a great one. Have a great night.